So I have some pages from the... Uh-oh, what's going on? I must have pressed a button. Welcome. This is the Casio LK-240. It's a home keyboard, and its big thing is that the keys light up, mainly. Let's turn it on and I'll show you that real quickly. I guess it's a learning aid. Maybe if I turn off these lights, we'll have a better look at that. Yeah, so that's kind of fun, but what I want to show you today is the fact that this keyboard has a sampling function. Now, when I picked this up, I wasn't expecting much from it. It's a newer keyboard. This is from 2013, and it's probably not got the greatest sounds or functions, although the light up thing is quite fun. But then I found out that it has the sampling feature. So going back to the 1980s, when sampling first became available, this was kind of your first choice. It was a little toy keyboard, the Casio SK1, same brand as you can see. And this guy, you could just press a button and sample about 1 second's worth. Okay, so let's demonstrate this. So what you would do is you would press the sampling button and then make a sound into the microphone. It tracks it across the keyboard and then you can merrily play away. Now, unfortunately, I have an electrical panel to my right here. And if I try sampling into this, it's going to be buzzy and horrible. So what I will do is I'll take our friend Mr. Elephant Face and do this off camera and sample something in. Okay, so we sampled the sound in there. This one. So that's the idea behind sampling, and I don't remember the exact sampling rate of this machine. It's not super high quality. So there you go, that's the SK1. We'll look at this in more detail in another episode. For now, I just wanted to show you one of the first keyboards available that had this sampling feature. So back to the LK-240. I'm not going to go through all the sounds and functions on this. I'm basically just concentrating on the sampling today. We do have quite a nice piano sound on here. That kind of surprised me. So we've got pianos, electric pianos, chromatic percussion, organ, guitar, bass, strings, ensemble, brass, reed, pipe, synth lead, synth pad, ethnic, general MIDI tones, drum set, and then 401 to 414 are sampled tones. Now I wonder. Okay, so
Yo, 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 hey,
so this is built into the machine.
yo, hey, yo, hey,
And that sounds like the original sample.
yo, hey, yo,
The making of a hit single right there. So back to the whole sampling thing. If you wanted to do it professionally and record more than 1 or 2 seconds, you would purchase a rack mount sampler, which were dedicated machines. I have an Akai S1000 in a box from, I think that's from the mid-80s or late 80s, 1989. They're notoriously difficult to learn how to use, and each sampler is different. You might learn to sample adeptly on the S1000, but if you had like a Yamaha sampler, that's another kettle of fish, and you have to learn it all over again and get used to its foibles. The S1000 was 16-bit, CD quality in other words. So there weren't that many professional keyboards that you could do this on, and if there were, they were quite expensive. So that's where a machine like this, that was practically free, I don't know how much it cost originally, but it wouldn't have been that much, maybe $100, $150, something like that. Now the downsides to this keyboard as a sampling instrument is that I don't know the sampling rate, and the noise floor is probably a lot higher than it would be on a professional instrument. And thirdly, you can only record, I believe, 1 to 3 seconds per sample. And you cannot save these when you turn off the power. You have to sample what you want to sample, put your effects on it or whatever you want to do, record it, and then you turn it off and it's gone forever. Okay, so on the back you have output, power in, audio in, microphone in, and this is the microphone level. And then over here you have sustain and USB. So I have some pages from the manual, mostly to do with the sampling feature. You cannot sample sounds input through the audio in jack, which is unfortunate because it looks like the SK1 could do that, and it's way older than this. Okay, so we're back and we have the Unidyne 3 hooked up to the machine with a preamp, which is out of sight under the desk here. I'll just turn that on real quick. Now, one thing I noticed is that when you are recording into this thing, there's a reverb on by default. I have no idea how to turn that off, if you even can, but it seems to be on all the sounds in here, and you can hear it on my voice now if I switch to the other audio track, which I probably have in post. And so we're going to record something from the elephant face here and onto 401, which is the, oh, that's squishy, cheap and cheerful. So we will record something from Mr. Elephant Face onto 401. First I have to press the sampling button. That's better, okay. All right, so we have our sample in there. It's now mapped to the entire keyboard. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, we have 5 octaves here. Some of them you can't see on the screen because they're over here. But they are there, and we are going to check out our sample now. This is the original right here. It just kind of cuts off there at the end, and then further up, all the way to the end, and then to the bottom, which is C1. Okay, so I've had no end of trouble filming this video. This keyboard is a real dog so far. The reverb is on by default, so we're going to turn that off straight away by pressing function until we get to reverb, and push it all the way down to 0 or off with the up and down keys, or plus and minus. Next, we're going to go to touch and turn that off too, because that's the touch sensitivity or velocity of the keys. No matter how hard or soft you press a key now, it's at full volume. So that's what I wanted from the get-go. That's why our samples were so quiet before, if I kept any of that in the video. So what we're going to do then is I'm going to redo the sampling portion of the video. We'll get a sample in there. That's all we need. Here's the original sample. That's pretty good actually. It's looping much better than it did last time. So we can now affect different effects to this sample. They're all built-in presets. You'll hear that some of these cross over, like loop 2 and 3 have some pitch effects, and these 3 here, funny 1, 2, 3, have a bit of vibrato going on, which is the pitch is modulated a little bit. So let's go through these one by one. We'll start with the original sample. This is just how it is as we recorded it. That's the lowest key there. By going to 405, we get loop number 1, and that sounds like this. Okay, next, by pressing plus, we get loop 2. And it has that kind of weird tail on it. Loop 3. That's kind of cool too. Next one is pitch, and as I said, there was kind of some pitch effects in the last two already. So what does this one do? Well, that's interesting. It has a tail effect as well. Pitch 2 kind of goes the other way with the pitch. All right, pitch 3. Oh, very good. Tremolo. I don't know if you can hear that it's kind of fading in and out a little bit. That's kind of what tremolo is. It's a modulation of the volume. A little harder to hear on the lower notes. Okay, next is funny 1. And that has a vibrato effect. It sounds quite good on the lower note, I seem to recall. Oh, goodness. All right, let's try the next one. Kind of like a demented robot. The third one has quite a little bit faster vibrato going on. And this might be a good place to reintroduce the reverb, which is what I wanted to do anyway. That's the last effect, by the way. There it is, reverb, and we'll push this all the way to 10, which sounded quite good. So that was what they refer to as full sampling. There's another thing on here called short sampling, and that allows us to record 3 shorter samples, all totaling up to 1 second, but each one limited to 0.3 of a second, or thereabouts. And just assigning them to 3 buttons here, which correspond to the numbers 402 to 404. I don't actually think you get all 4 of them in here, because by the time you've recorded these other 3, it's taken up the 1 second of sampling time that is currently occupied by 401. But we're going to try this, and last time I tried it, I successfully recorded the first 2, but then the third one didn't work, and it overwrote the first 2, and all we had was number 3. So let's just see if we can get it right this time. Now, unfortunately, I only have 2 hands, and you need about 4 to do this properly, so we will just have to get by here. So the way we do this, we press and hold sampling and one of the 3 voice pads here. So we'll start with number 1. Now, see, I made a sound and it caught that, so I'm going to have to put the device down here. Okay, let's try that again. So sampling 1. I wasn't expecting it to croak. What did we get? Well, that's good. We'll keep that one. Okay, so that's voice pad 1. Now let's try getting a second one in there. Press a different key this time. That's better. That's what I was trying to get the first time around. So we have now, it's important to remember to press tone before you do any voice selections. And if we go down 1, we should still have the first sample. We do. Go up 1. We have the second one. Alright, so let's try for number 3. I never got as far as that one the first time around. As we only have 0.3 of a second, let's try for a percussive sound. Oh, right. There it is. Hallelujah. Tone. This is the 3rd sample we recorded. The second one. And the first. Awesome. As I said before, you can't store these after you've turned off the machine. So if you wanted to do anything with these, you would have to do it now. In this case, I have the recorder running, so I have this recorded, and I could, if I wanted, load any of these sounds into my computer and play them on a software sampler. Which one is that? Oh, it's the frog. Let's go down to the first one. Okay, so this is where our original sample was recorded, 401, and you'll notice that it's gone back to factory settings.
Yo. Hey. Yo.
Which means we've repurposed our 1 second of sampling time to the other 3 keys, or other 3 tones. So if we go back up to here, we should have the croak still, and then the tone, and then the third one. Now there is a transpose function on here. I wonder if we can find that. Oh, there it is right at the start. Hang on a minute. Okay, so press it once and we have transpose. Let's go, we can go up. We can't go down, or can we? Oh, we can. Oh, excellent. We now have an extra octave below the low note that we had before, so let's try that out. And we'll go through the other 3 sounds. That almost sounds like a piano or a cello or something. That frog goes pretty low, isn't it? Okay, well that's cool. How about that reverb back? We'll go all the way to here. Turn it to 10 again, because that was awesome. There we go, a frog in a cave. We could do our own soothing sound machine with this. Okay, the next one was the tone. Groovy. And what was this one? This was the drum thingy. And another thing we could do is we could, well, let's turn off the reverb one more time. What effects do we have here? 405 was the loop. Oh, hang on a minute.
Yo.
Okay, so the effects apparently don't affect the short samples. So lastly, we're going to lose all those nice sounds we put in there now by going back to just plain old full sampling. Okay, so now we have a choir of sorts. Now if we loop that, 405, your very own choir in your backyard, as they say. You could compose a Philip Glass concert with this thing. Well, even though this is not without its foibles, it turns out it's not a bad sampling machine after all. If all you need is 1 second's worth spread across the keys, it does the job just nicely. Even though you can't tweak the loop points, for example, which is something a real sampler would allow you to do, the few effects that are in there are quite good. Other than that, we didn't really touch on any of these rhythms or song patterns or the teaching function in here. There are, of course, all these other sounds in here, such as synth sounds, etc., which I didn't get to. But we covered the sampling pretty good. There is one more feature that we didn't look at, and that is assigning the 3 short samples to, say, the bass drum and snare drum of your rhythms, so that you could effectively replace those 2 things. But again, you have to have the 3 micro samples or short samples in there, and it took me about three tries to get that right. So by the time you got that in there and mapped them to your drums and stuff, it's kind of like a workout. So yeah, the LK-240 by Casio, it samples pretty well. Not much more to say except
Thanks for watching.